Tonight, the Far West's dire COVID vaccination rates the 5th worst in the country, while Spencer Gulf businesses open up amid restrictions easing today.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. The order to take Pfizer doses from regional areas, including Broken Hill, has today been reversed. New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian says the change is due to an extra supply from the Commonwealth, with those doses much needed in the Far West, which has one of the lowest vaccination rates in the country.
It was a decision which sparked accusations the state government was treating regional residents as second-class citizens. But now Pfizer is coming back to the bush.
Those regional doses will be replaced in the week of 16th of August, and that's because the Prime Minister informed me personally last night that he was able to provide an extra 180,000 doses.
40,000 Pfizer doses were taken from regional areas. The Premier adamant that was the right call.
I don't regret that for a second. I know that's a hard thing to say, and I know people will probably be very upset with me that I've said that. But having Year 12 be able to complete their HSC is a priority for our government.
The Far West Local Health District now urging adults to get any vaccine available.
I would really encourage people to consider having AstraZeneca at this point.
The region's not in the clear, with traces of the virus found in sewerage at Dubbo and Armidale, while 8 new areas have been sent into lockdown, many of those regional.
We are very concerned, and that's why no one can be complacent. We need to make sure that you are still vigilant about signs and symptoms, getting tested.
Worryingly, the Far West and Orana has the lowest vaccination rate in the state and 5th lowest in the country. But our local health boss says the numbers don't reflect reality.
The data combines both Far West and Western LHD, so it's really not a clear data and not a clear reflection of what is happening in Far West.
AstraZeneca is now available to any adult at the state-run clinic, but even when Pfizer was suspended, just one person got their first jab.
We are really hoping that the community will embrace and come forward.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Meanwhile, South Australians have once again woken up to eased restrictions. An increase on venue capacities, one of the biggest changes. Business Port Pirie's president says it's a step in the right direction, but local businesses still need community support.
Businesses opening up to more patrons.
Hopefully it gives the businesses, but more importantly the consumers, a bit more confidence to go out and shop.
Restrictions easing on density caps today from 25% to 50%, allowing 1 person per 2 square metres. The Premier saying restrictions have been punishing on the sector.
And we'll continue to look at ways that we can reduce those restrictions, but we want to do it in a way that is careful and prudent and takes into account the risks as we make those further relaxations.
Business Port Pirie President Mark HANLON says businesses are still feeling the pinch, but are pleased with the level of compliance.
Not only have the shop owners or the business owners been very conscious of doing the right thing as far as masks and also the signing in of all their patrons or customers have been absolutely fantastic as well.
Labor is calling for greater support, suggesting the state government follow the lead of New South Wales, establishing a $200 million support fund for businesses suffering significant losses.
When government tells businesses that they can only trade at half their usual volume, that is a massive imposition on them. If we're going to ask that sacrifice of small businesses, pubs, cafes and others, then really it's up to government to support them to be able to get through.
But for now, the community is being asked to continue supporting local.
We certainly need the restrictions to lessen, so therefore we can actually get our hospitality and also tourism back up and going to the degree that it was or could be.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Police are investigating a car fire in Port Pirie. At around 2:30 this morning, emergency crews were called to 3 Chain Road near Simpson Road after receiving reports of a car engulfed in flames. MFS crews extinguished the fire, but the silver Honda hatchback was completely destroyed. Further inquiries revealing the vehicle had been stolen from a Balfour Street address. Meanwhile, investigations are continuing over a break-in and theft at Wallaroo. Between 3:20 Friday afternoon and 7:30 Monday morning, Police say the Copper Coast Council ATCO huts on the Spencer Highway were broken into. It's understood power tools were stolen, including a pressure cleaner, MIG welder, leaf blower and a concrete saw. Most of the items had been engraved with CCCWALL. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. And police are investigating a bizarre pursuit in Broken Hill last night. Patrol spotted a white ute on Menindee Road just after 9 p.m, which was allegedly speeding and fled onto a dirt track near Holton Drive. Officers say the driver attempted to cross the railway tracks, became stuck and fled on foot. A search located the man hiding in scrubland. He was arrested, underwent mandatory testing and is expected to be charged. Meanwhile, South Australian motorists have been caught speeding more than 1 million times in the past 5 years. New figures obtained by RAA showing the increased risk speeding has on our roads.
Messages to slow down today resonating across the state. The RAA revealing SA Police has issued over 980,000 speeding fines and 76,000 cautions since 2016, equating to around $395 million paid in fines.
We're still seeing a lot of people continuing to get caught for speeding. We've also seen there's a predominance of the number of fines that have been picked up through the mobile camera network.
The number of offences prompting a reminder for drivers they're risking more than a fine and demerit points when speeding.
We heavily promote the Fatal 5 offences that do contribute to our fatal and serious injury collisions, and police are focusing every single day on our roads, particularly in rural roads, to try and ensure that people are driving safely.
A comparison of the way motorists were caught over the same period also revealing a decrease in the number of roadside fines generated by fixed cameras, but a significant increase in motorists caught by mobile cameras. The RAA says road users must be aware of this amid the pandemic, with more commuters opting to travel by car.
People do need to be mindful of the speed limits that apply on these roads. At the moment, there's a lot of people travelling through our regional areas for tourism and recreation.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, millions of dollars worth of projects set to improve coastal wetlands. And Broken Hill Support Services gather for National Homelessness Week. Welcome back. South Australia's leading grain handler has opened applications for seasonal positions across the state. Pirie is looking to fill hundreds of jobs for the upcoming harvest season on the Eyre Peninsula.
The harvest season looking promising, with grain handlers now on the lookout to fill seasonal job vacancies.
Grain's been well received across the EP. Growers are extremely happy at this stage and fingers crossed it continues to pan out that way.
South Australia's leading grain handler, Viterra, preparing for the 2021-2022 harvest season, with hundreds of positions available around South Australia and Western Victoria.
Locally, we're looking for 400 positions, and as I said, in total, we're looking for 1,500 across the state.
These seasonal workers vital for both farmers and grain handling operations.
Harvest casuals or harvest workers are extremely important to ensure that the growers deliver their grain from the paddock into storage, and then obviously is available to sell both locally and also export as well.
The past 18 months has been difficult for the industry to attract seasonal workers due to the pandemic. Viterra encouraging people to apply with no previous qualifications required. Training will be provided on site.
We're looking for people from grain nomads to backpackers to students to retirees. It's a really great environment, great conditions, and a really great time of year to be working for our business.
Nick Pratt highlighting the importance of the industry to the region.
Grain is a key commodity to South Australia and extremely important to the local and also state economy as well.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Close to $2 million will be invested in research on how to restore the region's coastal wetlands. The state government partnering with 2 environmental organisations to investigate blue carbon stored in these areas.
An investment into restoring the Spencer Gulf's coastal wetlands rich in blue carbon. The state government creating a partnership with the Nature Conservancy and Common Foundation.
To first identify where are these blue carbon wetlands that we can restore throughout both Gulfs in South Australia. Once we do that, we'll begin to set these projects up to register them.
Blue carbon is the term used for coastal and marine habitats which store carbon in plants and soil, often found in salt marshes and mangrove forests, and can capture carbon 40 times faster than forests.
And they're extremely powerful at sequestering carbon from the atmosphere because they capture it both in the vegetation itself, the roots and leaves and stems of the plants.
$2 million will be invested by the state government to start up projects investigating the location and restoration of blue carbon sites. Dr. Chris Gillies is asking people who do recreation in the wetlands to take care.
Try and remain off these ecosystems, so they are fairly delicate. So in terms of driving around or trudging through wetlands.
Up to 2,000 hectares of wetlands will be restored in the Spencer and St. Vincent Gulfs. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Support services from across Broken Hill have hosted an information session to help those sleeping rough. Groups like Mission Australia, NDIS and Compass Housing among those in the town square today to mark National Homelessness Week, as well as a sausage sizzle and soup kitchen. It's a valuable chance to provide face-to-face information to those in need.
It's hard to get the information out there, especially if you don't have a phone or a laptop or access to any of those things.
It's estimated more than 116,000 people experience homelessness every day. Stay with us after the break. Local sport players gear up to hit the fields this weekend for mental health, and students take to the screen to promote the Steel City. Hello again. This weekend, Eyre Peninsula Football Leagues and Netball Associations will be recognising mental health. The round aiming to open a dialogue around mental well-being, urging people to seek help when needed.
An important fixture on the Lower Eyre Peninsula sporting calendar. The Mental Health Breakthrough Round will take place on Saturday, with every football and netball club aiming to promote seeking help when needed.
It's really important because it helps bring mental health to the forefront. So, we all have mental health, and when people talk about it, they consider how they can look after it, and we think that's really, really important.
Mentally Fit EP awarding people from each league for their promotion of mental health.
I think people agree that the 5 people that were chosen have been doing amazing things in their clubs and their leagues as well.
Boston Netball Club 500-game veteran Kylie Fowler is the recipient for the Port Lincoln Netball Association. After overcoming her own mental health challenges, she knows the value of player well-being.
It's nice to be recognised, I suppose, obviously, to raise awareness. Myself personally, I don't like talking about mental health or whatever to feel sympathy.
This weekend, an opportunity to open a dialogue and to break down the stigma surrounding mental health.
I suppose it's actually just sharing the knowledge that even if you experience these things, you don't need to give up on your dreams.
Mentally Fit EP hoping sporting clubs continue to get on board.
Everyone embraces it because that's what will help spread that message.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
It's lights, camera action for a group of students at the Whyalla Special Education Centre, creating a promotional video for the city. The video has been recently featured on the City Council's Facebook page, with further ambitions set for the class.
Promoting the city they live in and love so much. Wattle class from the Whyalla Special Education School creating this promotional video as part of their society and culture studies.
We are exploring the community. We wanted the students to be able to explore significant places in Whyalla and also have a voice in the community.
The students were asked to research major landmarks across the city as part of the assignments. The Whyalla Beach, Ada Ryan Gardens and the Steelworks, all featuring in the 4-minute video.
They're able to use their communication devices to communicate. It builds on their confidence as well. On top of that, it gets them out in the community.
The City Council featuring the video on their Facebook page, already receiving more than 5,000 views. Some of the students were even keen to tell 7 Spencer Gulf News why they love Whyalla so much.
I like the shops and I like going to the fireworks.
How does Whyalla make you feel?
Happy.
The video will now be entered into a film festival, putting Whyalla and Wattle class on the big stage. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A Port Augusta art gallery is set to reopen to the public tomorrow after closing its doors during the lockdown. The City Council is excited to welcome back visitors with a new exhibition now on show.
This new series of large-scale abstract paintings for the public to view tomorrow.
It's really good to come out of lockdown and to have an exhibition up and running.
Artist YUSUF HAYAT creating the exhibition to centre on themes of Indigenous sovereignty and perspectives of migrant belonging. The artist says he takes most of his inspiration from the patterns and textures of native Australian flora.
A few years ago I moved to the Adelaide Hills and it's surrounded by lots and lots of gum trees. And I just started paying so much more attention to the incredible surfaces of the gum trees.
The artwork recontextualises modernist tropes of painting by using lots of household paints, stains and traditional mediums such as canvas and oil paints.
I like working with a lot of the materials that you find in Bunnings.
With the lockdown postponing the event, YUSUF says he is excited to finally see the exhibition open.
As I was driving up to the gallery, that's when the press conference was happening to say be home by 6. So I got there, dropped them off. We had a good look and we had a few ideas about where to place things.
Whether it's coming with a group of friends or you just coming in and having a look yourself. So we're open from 9 till 4, Monday to Friday. So come on through.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Our fishing experts will join us with their tips for the weekend. And we'll have all the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. Well, with the rain clearing up in many parts across the region, we may be in for a decent weekend of fishing. Here are all our experts with what's biting out in the Gulf waters.
Hi, Whalers fishing tips this week. Off the local jetty, there's been some nice squid coming in there early in the morning and late in the afternoon. From the foreshore, there's been some nice yellowfin and silver whiting coming in from down towards the mangroves end of the beach. A few mullet amongst those as well. For the boaties, down towards Mount Young, again, bag limits of squid coming in from there. The best areas to work have been from the 2 to 4 metre range. And the nice King George whiting are coming in from the eastern shoal. Best hot tip is the northern end.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. I tell you what, this last couple of weeks has been a strain on your friendship, has it not? Now we're coming towards the business end of the King George whiting season. So some of the areas that we need you to look at are the Third Creek patches, top end of Eastern Shoal, top end of Ward Spit, and also if you look around the Checker Buoy area, you should be able to find yourself a good feed. Most of the time while you're fishing for King George, there'll be other fish floating around the place like salmon. Always have a squid jag over. I think I'd look around the berryweed around Barrows Beach. You might be able to find there's quite a bit of a surprise happening there. That's all we've got this week. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, the fishermen are out of lockdown and also the fish as well. A couple of big schools of silver whiting going along the front of the shacks, both on high tide and being spotted at the low tide as well. Little tip there, kick the dirt around, walk about 20 metres away from it and cast back, even down to about 30 centimetres of water. There's King George whiting getting caught. They seem to be a little bit further south at the moment, over in the Flinders Channel down towards Yatala Harbour. Squid, as you'd expect, are just about everywhere at the moment. There's been a couple little baby seals spotted, but we haven't seen a whale yet, so I'm pretty sure that they should be pretty soon up here as well. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, the whiting have been a little bit patchy over the past week down through the passage grounds, but Bolingbroke and the North Shore has been producing some nice sized King George, especially late in the day. There's also been some nice sized squid up along the North Shore and around Boston Island, and also off of North Shields Jetty for those fishing land-based. There's still plenty of salmon schools down on the south coast when the conditions allow. In Coffin Bay, the best area has been through the Farm Beach grounds and also up towards the pool. There's been some nice sized King George through there. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening, everyone. From 3 p.m. today, Port Augusta was cloudy and 17, Whyalla 15, Port Lincoln had a shower or 2 and was 16 degrees. Looking further out now, Broken Hill and Kadina were both 15, Port Pirie and Woodner top 16 degrees, Cooper Pedy was partly cloudy and reached 17. Taking a look at the satellite image now, speckled cloud moving over southern South Australia in cold onshore winds is bringing showers scattered in the southeast and parts of the west coast. Skies are clear over the northern pastorals under a firm high pressure ridge and cool dry winds. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. West to southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas below 1 metre, and swells south to southwesterly 1 to 1.5 metres. To the temperatures now, Port Lincoln and Cleaver shower 2 and 16 degrees, Woodner showers and a max of 17, a possible shower for Whyalla 17 degrees, Port Augusta partly cloudy also 17 degrees, Kadina a shower 2 reaching 15. Port Pirie a shower 2 topping 17, similar conditions in Clare 13 the max there, and Broken Hill a partly cloudy top of 15 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, and we'll start with that all-important weekend forecast. Partly cloudy and 17 in Woodner and Whyalla on Saturday, Adelaide and Broken Hill reaching 15, Cooper Pedy will have the region's high of 19. The weather clearing up nicely on Sunday with partly cloudy conditions mainly forecast. Port Augusta and Woodner set to reach 20 degrees, 21 in Cooper Pedy, and heading into next week now, Port Lincoln and Port Pirie reaching 20, Port Augusta partly cloudy and 22. So it looks like we'll have a nice break from the rain over the next week, Ruby, and that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Great, thanks for that, Alex. And that's all local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.